Hey everybody, welcome to the February Exo Consortium broadcast. This is a time when Exo organizations, people working on ET disclosure, information, awakening, come together to share their news, talk about what they're working on. When Exo organizations come together. So I just want to introduce myself. I'm Zenka Caro. Daniel and I are here from Exo Metaverse and Lightnet. We're a citizen science platform that invites everyone to share their wisdom. So, and also to get in it and try this stuff out. So if you haven't astral traveled, or if you haven't seen a UFO yet, this is what we really specialize in. We encourage people to take it out of theory and into practice. And we do that in loving small groups and in our Exo community. I want to share a couple of things. We also, like I said, organize the world's knowledge on things that are not always showing up on the first page of Google. Okay, our radios are going off here as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen here and share some of the amazing pieces of knowledge that have come through since we last had our Exo Consortium hangout. So, whoops, I'm doing share instead of slideshow. Here we go. So Susan Worthley, she's a healer. She's an author of a book about speaking across the veil. And we asked our community, have we communicated with people in another dimension, right? Someone dead, our higher selves, an angel, a galactic, and a lot of people have had that experience. If you want to add your wisdom, you'll see the links on the bottom of the screen that will allow you to go in and add your collective knowledge. So this I thought was really great. So did someone teach you how to do it? Some people said, I did it since I was a child and it came naturally. And then the second biggest group just said, I just tried it and it worked. So again, we encourage you to share your knowledge and then just try things, right? So we asked people, how do messages across the veil come through? And a lot of people said a dream or a synchronicity. So I want you guys to all tell yourself tonight before you go to bed, I want to remember my dream. And Daniel's been giving me tips. Don't move when you get up, have something to write it down, but really setting the intention before you go to bed is the biggest thing. And you can say, I want to meet galactics. I want to travel to another planet. I want to talk to my cosmic starseed self. And those will come through, I guarantee you. We also had an incredible session this month with Jamie Price. She is a author of a light language book, and she's also a teacher and a healer. She has incredible workshops. Again, if you didn't get a chance to participate in our collective intelligence survey, here's the link. And we asked people, she wanted to talk about integrating our cosmic self. So a lot of us know that we have an Arcturian part of us or a Sirian part of us or a Lyran part of us. So how do we balance these two worlds, right? Our human self here on Earth and this other self that we identify with. And a lot of people answered that they use meditation and being in nature and being under the stars. I know a lot of you have these star apps on your phone. You look up and you can see what thing you're looking at. We're actually getting a lot of transmissions on the radio right now. That's another thing we're encouraging people to do is radio research to communicate with other dimensions. So again, if you want to look at the results of this survey, people really do share a lot of knowledge here, and you can find that when you go to the results after you take the survey, or just do dash results and you can really browse everything. I'm really excited because on Thursday, we're going to have Krista coming to join us. She is featured in a new documentary that's won tons of awards all over. It's called Extraordinary, The Revelations. She's a starseed. She's written 4 books channeling the Orion Council. She is in this movie with Billy Carson, George Norrie, Mary Rodwell, all the big people. She's amazing. She's here in Sedona. And she's also set up a survey for you about finding your purpose. And she's going to talk about the meaning of ascension. She's going to talk about her Orion council and what she's channeled in her 4 books and everything. And we have Sylvain here. I'm going to let him talk about it, but we have him for our next hangout. It's a free hangout, and we encourage you to sign up for that. So also Daniel's sharing links in the chat right now. As an Exo member, you'll get to hear Krista's presentation on Thursday, and you'll also get a free passes to our spoon bending parties, which happen on the first Sunday of every month. We had a baby last week that we did graduate school bending, which is bending without touching, and he kept saying hot, 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 and his spoon is clearly bent over. So he's going to be coming to our next session and we'll see what happens. But it's quite astounding to understand the supernatural, extraordinary abilities that we all possess. I also want to remind you that we do the mapping for the CE5 initiative, which is the new moon of every month. We get together in CE5 groups. We publish a map for everybody to find people locally in your area. And Greg Heller, who's also on our team, is going to be talking about the map that he made also for Fire the Grid. So this, we're going to share the links in the chat, but you can say that you want to do a CE5, put it up there, people can contact you. You can also look at the map to find local people in your area, and then you can also report your contact at the end of the month. So I'm gonna let Greg talk about Fire in the Grid, but we're so excited because this big mass meditation that was organized by Star People for many, many years now, millions of people have participated, is going to be in just a few days on February 21st. So we really encourage you to take part in that. So I'm going to pass over to Daniel, my co-founder of Exo Metaverse and Lightnet, and go ahead and share. And all the other presenters, everybody's going to call on the next person, and you can go ahead and take the floor and share your links. So.
Wonderful. Thank you, Zinka.
You're on mute, actually. Oh, no, you're not. Actually, I'm just can't hear you.
Okay, great. So I have a little bit of an update that I want to organize by this slideshow. I want to talk about Lightnet development, which is very exciting. The ET Let's Talk update, the rebrand I've done from Cosmic Dream Hypnosis to Cosmic Dream Sanctuary, and to talk about CE5 and dream meditation through the Dreamwell mobile app. First, I want to say a special thank you to New Realities and Alan and that community that we are rebroadcasting through. It's an honor to be hosted by someone who appreciates the dreamlike nature of ET contact. So I am the technical co-founder of Lightnet, and I just want to share some of my experiences to establish credibility that we are building world-class tools for our community so that you feel very comfortable in supporting us and joining us in this journey together. I started my career at goodreads.com, which is a social bookmarking and collective intelligence site. This is what I really envisioned for the resource library in Lightnet. And so if you have ever used goodreads.com, know that we can bring something like that to our community here with consciousness and ET contact. I served as the lead data systems developer for community attributes. We built an interactive data visualization and mapping platform for decision makers. Here you can see a map and data visualization we built for the city of Seattle to help inform decision-making around arts grants. Likewise, here is a map and data visualization that brings together global data about libraries for the International Federation of Library Associations. So I'm sharing this to say that we, as a community of ET contactees and consciousness people, can actually bring together data, and Lightnet is the way to do that. I'm currently working still with the Technology and Social Change Group at University of Washington, again, to bring together global data to help global decision makers. This is a dashboard used by the UN to see how technology is impacting the world according to the Sustainable Development Goals. And this is the kind of caliber of work that we need to see done with ET contact. And I would actually put forward that we as a community are the decision makers that we need to speak towards. So that's why we talk about citizen science. That's why we talk about collective intelligence. I talk a lot about open data, and one of the experiences that I have is as a front-end architect for Archimedes Digital with the Center for Hellenic Studies at Harvard University. This was a project all about bringing forward our cultural heritage through an open data platform. And that's one of the things that we see can bring forward ourselves as a society and a community. That's what I would see for Lightnet as well. Finally, I want to talk about my work with NORD, the Non-Ordinary Reality Database. This is core to the offering that is a donation of my heart. Actually, I've worked on this for a decade. I've pulled together 250,000 first-person reports of dreams, ET contact, UFO sightings, ghosts, past life, and so on, collected from academic databases and through web crawlers. I've put together a natural language processing pipeline that takes all that first-person data, brings it into quantitative data that we can use to produce scientifically meaningful content analysis reports that are industry standard in dream studies. So we can look to dream studies as the archetype for us to understand ET contact in a much deeper way. And the reason why I'm talking about all this is that we are building world-class tools for this community, and we need some support. Zenka and I are totally all in. And we are working with a team of developers, and we are asking for like $15,000 to $30,000 to complete the first phase of this project so that you can actually use it in 2 to 4 months. This is an outstanding deal compared to some of those projects that I architected for those previous clients. This is a really great deal. We're working with a great team of developers. So if you're interested in putting forward an enduring legacy in this community, get in contact with us now. I want to shout out to ET Let's Talk. I've been working on an update for months with ET Let's Talk to streamline the group joining process and the reporting process. I am having a baby this month, so I am calling for any WordPress developer or anyone that knows a WordPress developer who would like to donate time to move this project across the finish line. So get in contact with me at daniel@lightnet.org. So then, thank you for being with me about this. I'm speaking really fast because I want to save time for other people, but I want to introduce the rebranding of my hypnosis work from Cosmic Dream Hypnosis to Cosmic Dream Sanctuary. And that's defined as an open interfaith ecumenical community based in mystic Christianity, Mahayana Buddhism, dream studies, CE5, quantum healing, and Western liberal arts. I offer one-on-one sessions by donation in the modalities of depth hypnosis, beyond quantum healing, dream work, and spiritual counseling. So if you're interested, go to cosmicdreamsanctuary.org. You'll get all the information that was used to be present on Cosmic Dream Hypnosis. One of the core offerings here is a channeled material. Last year at 4:44 a.m. at 11:11, I began a 30-day ritual of celestial communication that is derived from the work of Dr. John Dee, a 16th century advisor to the Queen Elizabeth and coiner of the term, the British Empire. So it's a big deal that he engaged in celestial contact. This is a very early example of CE5, and I did the ritual. The contact ritual was filmed. It produced 108 pages of information along with videos of remarkable radio contact. Thank you, Zenka, for providing those radios that were used. The topics of this communication include invitation and instruction to use the natural portal system, remote viewing of the Jupiter and Saturn stations, as well as inner Earth civilizations, a history of the hybridization programs, and it presents an emphatic call to let go of war, aggression, and for universal forgiveness of empire as a prerequisite for using the fifth density portal system, and it provides the tools to go through that process. This is what it looks like in the offering. You can see that at the Cosmic Dream Sanctuary YouTube channel. You can see I'm bringing together contact modalities from 5 centuries ago in the guise of ceremonial magic and the radio contact, and you can see an image of one of the radios going off, indicatory of ET contact. You'll also find some self-hypnosis scripts. These are some of the most potent aspects of my work that I have done since saying my prayer to be of service to others in this field. There's a script about abduction, contact, or dreams. This is all about figuring out what to do after those extraordinary phenomena. A script about starseed origin, purpose, and activation. So if you want to connect in with your galactic origins and activate your presence here on Earth now, this is a great place to start. And then finally, I work with abduction marks. So this is discovering the meanings of abduction, ET marks, and dreams. You can get to that at the Cosmic Dream Sanctuary channel on YouTube. There are live sessions that I do, which is on Sunday morning. We have a church-like service that is based in Buddhist mind training practices. And on Wednesday night, a deep dive into hypnosis and dream study and practice. So this Wednesday night, we're studying regression hypnosis, which is particularly relevant to ET contact in the form of missing time, and also the starseed regression. Finally, I want to promote the Dreamwell app. This you can get to there at dreamwellbewell.com or go to any of the app stores. And I want to call out the Cosmic Dream Hypnosis track. You can get to this completely for free, even though the Dreamwell does offer premium subscriptions to a growing content library. Cosmic Dream Hypnosis is all about CE5 and dreams. So if you want to make contact with extraterrestrial civilizations, which is what brought me into this field and why I'm talking to you all now, I've offered a way of communication or a meditation that you can do before bed and see how it works. I'd love to hear about that. So finally, here are the links: lightnet.org, exometaverse.org, etletstalk.com, cosmicdreamsanctuary.org, and dreamwellbewell.com. You can reach out to me at daniel@lightnet.org, and I'd love to hear from you. So with that, I'll pass it back to Zenka. Thank you.
Awesome. That was incredible. Thank you, Daniel. You have such a huge heart and a huge brain. It's just astounding. I'm going to go ahead and pass to Adrian at Awaken, and we'll keep going from there.
Yep, I was muted. Thank you so much, Zenka, for the intro, and Daniel, that was just awesome. You just have a great body of work there. So a little bit about me. I also had an ET contact experience, and that sort of blew me open and changed my life. I come from a background of tech, sort of like Daniel, built a slew of tech companies, and I had an experience about 2 years ago that completely opened me up. Was taken on a ship in the middle of the day, and that changed everything. And so as I began to open, I opened to channeling and started to put together a way for these channeled messages that I had been seeking when I had my Awaken to be in one place. And so I started a company called Awaken, and it's at awaken.world. And if I can, I could just walk you through that really quickly to show you what I'm contributing here. And I'm going to do that now. So as you can see here, this is awaken.world, www.awaken.world. And what we're doing here at Awaken is bringing together channelers who are really good for private session, but also to take their content and cut it up into really nice snippets and put it online that's accessible and easy. And so one of the first things that we have as an offering here is a meditation to meet your guides. This is channeled down, and you can go in there and watch this totally for free. It's part of my own personal energetic setup that I use to connect and channel that was given to me by my guidance team. And a lot of people have great things to say about that. So I would encourage you all to just check this out. If you want to go get a message from your own guidance team, if you've never met your guidance team, I think this is a pretty cool one. Another free offering here, and there's a bunch. We have over 120 different channeled messages on the site, but these are the first ones on the homepage. Is a little bit about my story, the ET contact, pretty much everything I've learned in the last 2 years. And the message that I received on New Year's Day, 2022, this was a channeled message with Q&A with a bunch of star beings and archangels and about what's going on in the world, what should we expect in 2022 and sort of the future. And that's sort of a big download that I got, and I would like to share that with everyone. So these are all free ones. Another one is also predictions. We've got a couple top channelers to read the energy of 2022 and give some predictions of what we see coming. So this is the kind of stuff that we think is cool, to take these downloads, cut them into cool snippets, make nice little packets of information, and spread them on the internet. That was the message that I got when I was awakened was that I was here to help awaken others, and like many of you are, and to just sort of prepare for a new world that was coming. So this is my contribution, and I'm excited to share it with all of you. We do have a premium service as well. It's $11 a month, and basically you get all our meditations, all the channel messages. We have audios, and there's also a community that is there that's private, where you can like, socialize, let's call it, with other people who are awakening, a Telegram chat, etc. And we also have live events once a month. It's really cool. In the chat here, I've dropped a link for 50% off for life. So it'd be like $5 a month if you'd like it. And if you don't see the link, the coupon code is Exo Metaverse. And yeah, so that's Awaken, and that's what I'm here to sort of contribute. And I think it's such an important and amazing time to be alive. So many people are awakening. It's not just about ETs, it's about consciousness, it's about reality. We're just part of this huge web of consciousness, and it's really beautiful. And so the ET story is just one of many great stories. So that's what I'd like to share. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adrian. I'm going to pass it to Sylvain right now. And thank you so much. Hey, Sylvain.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, my name is Sylvain Rochon. I'm the Vice President of Network Development at the Alliance for Extraterrestrial Diplomatic Contact. And today what I'd like to announce, and I'm not sure if I announced this, no, I did not. We just launched the advertisement for a big conference on October 6th, 2022, a conference that will talk about our plans for the very first official UN approved extraterrestrial embassy here on Earth. Our member organization and this organization, the Alliance, have been working on this for a very long time. We have gathered in resources through our memberships and donations and past efforts, about $50 million US for the construction proper. And we've been, since 2019, we've been talking to multiple nations that are interested in giving what is needed to for an official embassy, which is extraterritoriality. So you have to give, a nation gives a piece of land to another nation, in this case, an extraterrestrial nation or civilization, a piece of land, and it becomes theirs. And then you build an embassy, or they build an embassy. In this case, we will build it, the embassy with the funds that we've gathered on that piece of land. And it becomes officially an embassy of an ET civilization with respect to international law. And the other effort around it is, which is ongoing right now, is to get a convention to change the Vienna Convention that manages all the diplomatic missions on Earth so far, to make sure that it includes language for extraterrestrial civilizations. Because the Vienna Convention is 1961. They did not anticipate the possibility of an embassy for extraterrestrial back then. So we have to add some language to an optional protocol for that. So we are in discussion with certain diplomats and certain members at the United Nations right now, very quietly, since it's not yet official, but it'll get there. And this is what we do. Now, the conference in October is going to be the very first conference where we will reveal a lot of information of what the activities, extra detailed information about the activities and the plans for the embassy. Since we redrew some of the plans, you can see some of it behind me. That's the old plans. I invite you to visit the web. I'm going to share my screen now. It's cool. To go to this website, conference 2022 at .alliance4et.org. And that's the Alliance website. You can buy your tickets to attend. There's a maximum of 1,000 tickets. And there we'll be able to network with leaders of different organizations. I know the Exo Metaverse organization will be there. ET Let's Talk will be there, and a bunch of others. will be there. All the members. We represent so far about 15 organizations, including a new organization out of Russia of military and scientific luminaries that want to protect space from multiple species, including extraterrestrial ones. And they've added themselves to the alliance to support our activities. So you'll be able to interact with all these people virtually through a platform, and also listen to the news, the new blueprints, all that really cool stuff. What makes this really exciting to me, and I've been involved for many, many years and leading up to the alliance and within the alliance, is that this is the real deal. This is we're leading up to a real embassy here, something that would be approved and worked with other nations, other diplomats around the planet. This is not just, somebody has a piece of land and builds a building on it. We've had the funds for quite a while. It needs to be a real embassy, which is part of the effort. So this is an international project for everybody. It's going to be the first embassy to greet an ET civilization in an official capacity for diplomatic missions. So we would like to welcome any organization, any individual to come in, contact us, see us at the conference, get in there, and let's celebrate, because this is a seminal moment in humanity where we are preparing for a first contact situation with an alien civilization, a real one, like officially, openly, clear skies, full media, all the jazz, right? And official rules, all that stuff, all nations in acquiescence of how this is going to happen, all that stuff. So there's really great reasons to work with us, to prepare for it, and we're going to make it happen. And I have a little bonus, since I'm up here and I can. I have a special coupon code for people that want to register onto the conference and get their tickets, their early bird tickets, which is already rebated. And the coupon code is, wait, I'm going to put it in the chat here. It's just ETDC 2022. Very simple, like this. Okay. You can go on, and if you buy your ticket now, you get 34% off the early bird price. So it's really great. There's a limited number of those available, which means if you get it now, then you're in. Eventually, there just won't be any more tickets available at that particular point in price. But we'll probably do more promotions later at some point. I just don't know. It really depends on the responses. I won't, like I see a note from Greg, I won't tell you the number of nations because I don't know. I'm not the one leading those discussions. It's my the president, Danielle Turcotte, who's doing that. And it's very close to the chest. I know there are at least 2. And they're not northern. So it's not Canada where I am. And it's not Russia either. But it's warmer nations that are more comfortable, I suppose, for now. But there will be probably others that come in. There's several nations, like Native American nations, that have come forward. But they can't give extraterritoriality, even though it's very nice. They can't, give us what we need to actually make it internationally official and all that jazz. So these are actual, like, full-fledged nations that, like countries that come to us and are discussing with us officially. So I hope I can see you all at the conference, interacting with us, contacting us. Everything is game. This is the first of its kind in the humanity, and there's no financial burden or hurdle for it, which is great. The money's already in. All we are doing is promotion and getting the attention of the diplomats as much as possible through this whole period of disclosure. So thanks a lot. I think I should provide the microphone to somebody else, perhaps Paul Hynek. You could carry on this.
Sure. That's a tough act to follow, Sylvain. Yeah, I just have a list of some conferences I'm going to, and perhaps be glad to go to the one in October as well, on October 6th. I don't really have much besides this because I have a horrifically anemic social media footprint. So here's some conferences and things I'm interested in. I'm having a debate with Michael Shermer, the famous skeptic, and somebody I quite respect. I think he's got a healthy attitude. He's not overly dismissive, but he is skeptical. On March 10th, then UFO Con, March 25th through 27th in San Francisco. Then the Disclosure Symposium, May 27th through 29th in Vernal, Utah, which is the site of the Blind Frog Ranch. How can you not like the Blind Frog Ranch? The MUFON Symposium, July 7th through 10th in Denver. And then the UFO Disclosure Bulgaria Conference, September 23rd through 25th, where I will be speaking, perhaps warbling in Bulgarian. My challenge to myself is I will speak anywhere in the world in any language with 2 months notice. So I will do my best to not shame native English speakers in Sofia, Bulgaria in September. I guess I'll say my ongoing most passionate research thread in this field is the potential link between plant medicine and what we broadly call aliens, and the potential to actually prove or provide compelling evidence to the traditional scientific community that the interactions that many of us feel that we have with, let's just say, other intelligences merit further scientific study, which is what my father was trying to do. And I'm taking a small sliver of what he was doing and trying to go deep down that, well, I won't say rabbit hole, probably a wormhole. So that's it for me.
Thank you so much, Paul. We'd love to hear about everything you're working on. It's so incredible. And I wish I could go to all those conferences too. So great to meet everyone and have you mixing around. So I'm going to introduce Isaac Mars. He's an incredible physicist and he's just written a book. He's a starseed. He's incredible. And after that, we're going to have Greg Heller talk about a Fire in the Grid, which is an incredible project that's coming up just next week. Alan Steinfeld will also be joining us, and Adam Apollo wants to say hello. So I'll give the floor to Isaac here to share his new work.
Hello, beautiful beings. So I am a theoretical physicist. I had my spiritual awakening last winter in 2021. Since then, I've had pretty profound ET contact. I didn't have any physical contact, but I did have an experience with basically an entire fleet of starships. And I don't want to take up too much of your time tonight. I just want to give you a little teaser of what I've been working on with my book titled Unity Theory, the Universal Natural Intelligence Theory of Energetics. And so here's a little something I wrote up to share. If you knew that you alone had the power to change the world, would you? At this moment, the people of this planet are beginning to wake up to the truth about society. We are collectively starting to recognize the institutional systems that have unjustly coerced the masses to give up their money, peace, and happiness for the selfish desires of a select few. Due to their greatest tool, the manipulation of the truth through the use of weaponized psychology, they have spread the deadliest virus across the entire world. This virus is fear. My name is Isaac Mars, and through the power of information, I'm here to share the truth behind this insidious virus. Up until 2021, like the majority of our population, I had spent all of my days unconsciously soaking up the psychological indoctrination built into modern society. I let the virus of fear affect me throughout nearly all levels of my life. Heartbroken over the rampant suffering I constantly witnessed in the world around me, I felt so powerless from my limited perspective. I couldn't see how I could possibly do anything to make a difference. After all, I was just some average guy with a relatively logical mind. Then, when I finally gave in to the growing passion within me, something profound changed my entire life. I saw through the illusion of this world, and in doing so, for the first time, everything finally made sense. By following my heart, I began to pursue my dream of writing an inspiring science fiction novel intended to help bring awareness to the problems of society through storytelling. As I wrote the first few chapters, it became clear that I would need to include an explanation of time that could afford my readers the ability to easily comprehend a realistic concept of time travel. After researching what humanity had known about time, I realized that I had inadvertently utilized Einstein's theory of relativity to formulate the first theory of everything that clearly explains how the phenomenon works. In short, I came to realize that time, as we have known it, cannot possibly exist. Moreover, by continuing to follow my deductive reasoning, I became the first person in history to discover the only logical explanations for the purposes and properties of gravity, dark matter, and dark energy. Thus, the topic of my first book was born, Unity Theory. In my book, I bring awareness to the source of all fear, suffering, lack, and limitation, the illusion of separation. In our universe, every being is inarguably inseparable from the reality we experience, just as back is inseparable from front. Without an observer, the environment of this reality could not be experienced. And without an environment, the observer would have no reality to experience. This means that we are not a separate organism in a foreign environment. We are both the organism and the environment. This reveals the most important truth that has been hidden behind the psychological gymnastics we've been instructed to perform throughout all of human history. We are the entire universe experiencing itself through the phenomenon of consciousness. Through our 5 biological senses, every experience beyond the border of our skin is just as much a part of us as any aspect of our biological body, because all of it, including our body, only exists within the perception of our mind. What does this all mean for us? Every person, plant, and animal you have ever interacted with is you. Every star in the sky, every planet, and even the space in between them, all of it is you. We are all one. Through unity theory, the truth has arrived, and it's high time that the people of Earth finally receive it. It's time for us to stand together as we tap into the true power that resides within all of us. I, for one, refuse to stand by as my fellow brothers and sisters of humanity continue to suffer. All of us deserve to live a life of freedom and joy, and thankfully, we now have a clear path to make that a reality. I love each and every one of you, for all of you are me. So why don't we spread this truth so that together we can build a brighter world? One thing I want to explain about my theories are that they're extremely easy to digest. I can explain them down to the 6-year-old level. And as Einstein said, if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't understand it. So this leads me to believe that since they are extremely logical and simplistic, per Occam's razor, usually the simplest answers are the best ones. And so I'm publishing my book at the beginning of March, and I'm looking to develop a dialogue between any physicists, any scientists, any philosophers willing to come together to discover the truth and share it with the world. I'm personally not a mathematician at all. I am a creative thinker and a philosopher. So that is my presentation. And again, thank you all for being here and sharing this beautiful moment with me. Much love.
Thank you very much, Isaac. We've shared his link to his unity theory. I have read the book. It explains dark matter. It explains time. It explains holographic reality in a way that I cannot even get it out of my head. The images that he creates in the book are very, very powerful. And we're lucky to have him as part of the team of Starseeds bringing down knowledge. So it's my great pleasure now to introduce our beloved Greg Heller, who has been programming to make the incredible map for Fire in the Grid possible. Welcome, Greg. Great to see you.
Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's fine. Well, I know you've all seen the Fire in the Grid, or most of you before, but February 21st is the next event, and the website is very functional and has been functioning for a while now without any errors at all, and hour by hour more and more people are joining now, and as the week progressed, the rate has been picking up. So you know, one of the challenges for this website was initially, well, one, they wanted a 3D globe with hexagons on it. They did not like the 2D globe we presented. They wanted a 3D globe on it. But the big challenge was they said we're going to have between 2 million and 22 million users on it at the same time. And Daniel worked on this with me, and him and I kind of looked at each other and went, okay, so how much money do you have? Oh, maybe $100 a month. Okay. So pondering on it for a long time, came up with a model that seems to be working and is actually capable of doing that. And I've been designing sites for a long time for Target and everybody that had millions of users on it, and but they had tens of thousands or more dollars a month to put into these things. So this was a good challenge. Okay, Zenka's showing it. Let me share it, Zenka. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Where are we? Boink. Okay, so here's the globe. As you've all seen, I'll restart it again. What's new in it? We've done some work on performance enhancements on it, as well as the startup now has a slow connection startup for the few people that had some problems, which doesn't immediately display the globe, which requires quite a bit of overhead on it. A couple things. Here, let me go to full screen on it. You'll notice the globe is broken up into hex bins, and each hex bin represents a radius of about 200 kilometers, something to that sort, on it. And what we've done, as people sign up for the site, they register, their location is tracked either by their input of their city, state, or if they have their GPS on. And then using Uber's H3 hexes, they're all given a hex, and we plot the number of participants at the center location. So that's what you see here right now. As you can see, the United States, the hexes are really nicely filling up. Europe, tremendously as well. I can click on the thing and it'll go, to each of these things. But the rest of the world is still lacking. South Africa is pretty empty. Only one person in Mumbai, India. Got people in Vietnam and Cambodia, and some in the Philippines, Tokyo. Plenty of people down actually in Australia and New Zealand. So it's been a lot of fun. The link, did you put it out there?
Yeah, I did, Greg.
Okay.
Yep. Fire the grid outworld.
Yeah, so if you go into this site, you can actually, you want to register, the register button or that yes I will button. You register and you fill in a little survey here, and once you do, you're added to the you're added into the number of users, and you're placed on the map. The site also, which one of the things that was kind of a surprise, I thought I was doing this globe and the registration page, and somehow Daniel sneaked in the whole website, and Celia Hatch, that I'm working with on this, agreed, and I didn't quite catch it at first. So I ended up doing this whole website, which I really haven't done a huge website before, but it's not just the globe here. You see there's a page, a story, a countdown.
What day are we firing the grid? What's the date?
We are firing the grid February 21st, 2022 at 11:07 GMT, and my time is 3:07 a.m. PST. So this is the current event. here are the events. Here's a little brochure Celia Hatch gave me today. And the event today is the 21st. The next event, unless they put something in between, is February 21st, 2023 on it. And I'm kind of pushing them to put a couple more there in the middle. But basically, you know, the reason I really am interested in doing that is my experience has shown that we are conscious beings, and we consciously can affect the reality and change the reality. The more of us that get together at any one time, the amount of energy, if you expand yourself with hard energy over everybody at the same time, I was shown the amount of energy that you're putting up. You say there's a big vortex of light going up. Well, as you merge one person to the next, the energy goes up by exponentially by a square or so. And it's not just a 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a massive amount of energy. And I was shown that by our ET friends at my first sea setting. And I was able to wrap 33 people, and the light was blinding going up into the heavens. Well, that's what this is all about, getting people to do this all at once. That's what ET Let's Talk, the CE5 meditation events are about. And this is really about healing the earth. And with the events going on in the Ukraine right now, we sure as hell need it, and other things, obviously. But I truly believe this sort of thing can change everything if you get enough people to do it, and there's proof of that. So anyhow, that's what it's all about. The site itself, you register, it has biographies on it, and you'll have to go read this thing, but the plan, contacts, you know, you can log in like I do and do things. So I don't know, Zenka, is there something else I should say? Or what do you want? What would you like to say?
I want to say thank you to you. I mean, this has been a huge project. This whole site was built by hand so it could scale to 22 million. And this has been, you know, everybody uses Google Maps for a reason because it's super easy, and this is not super easy. So we just really appreciate, Greg, all the tireless effort you've put forth to make a better world and to get us to be in this hour of joy together and to show ourselves and to see ourselves on this map. So we invite you guys in the next 3 days to really share this link out, firethegrid.world. We have 3 days left to fill this, you know, and especially if you know people in the far reaches of the world, share it with them, because we would love to get kind of everybody, all the countries together. So thank you so much. And yeah, Greg is also showing the map that shows the contacts. Yes.
Yeah, this is the 3D globe with the actual satellite imagery on it. But you know, what I wanted to say, you know, it's time for me to give all this back. And one of the things I've done for many years is do a lot of coding of different big systems and things, and not so much web coding actually. But so I'm giving that back, but you know, I can also use some help too if anybody knows anyone, because I really need to spend more time doing my own meditation and getting people out into the field, like I promised Zenka and a few people.
Hey, can I ask you, what do we do when we're at that hour? Is there something special to do to actually fire the grid?
Well, really, it's a meditation. I think the there's an online. Let me look here. I gotta.
Yeah. So the idea is really to just be in your joy. They believe that is the highest frequency you can be in. So if your highest joy is cooking, you're going to cook. If your highest joy is dancing, it's going to be dancing. If your highest joy is, you know, meditating with aliens, that's what you're going to do, or reading Alan's book, or whatever it is, right? Be in your joy. That is like the joy of why you're here, and why, you know, that's what's going to spread the energy. So
but there's also a link now for an online chat that's on YouTube that Anil and Celia will be there live while this goes on. So you can join up with that as well. But it's really just be in your joy, meditate, close your mind down, open your heart, and feel peace and love, give love to the earth and everyone. That's what I do.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, great. So Alan, you're next. We would love to hear what's going on. If Greg, you can stop your screen sharing, that would be great. And I will go ahead and put Alan up. Thanks again, Greg.
I do want to say I met Shelley Yates in 2010. And for people who don't know who Shelley is, I'm sort of like a spiritual historian for the last 40 years, tracking like the trends. And when I heard about Shelley on Coast to Coast, I invited her to a conference I was doing in New York, and she told her whole story, or some of the story, how she had drowned with her son. Her car went off the road, I think in Nova Scotia, and her son drowned. And in that near-death experience, she had these beings come to her, and I think, well, they showed her that they were going to survive. She was going to survive. Her son was going to survive. And so she was pulled out of the river or the ditch, but her son was still unconscious, and she was conscious, and her son was taken to the hospital, and these beings came to her and they said, just have people go into this hospital room and send light. And that's what happened for 24 hours. All her friends and everyone sent light to her son, who was in a coma. And eventually, after, I don't know, maybe it was 5 days or a week, the son came up out of the doctor said he knew he'd be brain dead, but he came out perfectly fine. And I don't know if she made a promise to these beings, but somehow those interdimensional beings said, now it's time to fire the grid. So I think the first firing of the grid took her time to build up her reputation, but I think that was in 2010, wasn't it? The first firing of the first grid. Do you know about that?
Yeah, it was literally like 10 years ago.
Right. So that's when she came to New York to also talk about that, and she gathered a lot of people at this Crystal Skull conference, and she is just full of joy and enthusiasm and energy herself. So I'm glad that the grid is still firing, and this is what's so magical about this time, Zinka, is that so many different people and organizations are suddenly waking up to the higher realities that we're all a part of. You can't hide it anymore. Ordinary people are having near-death awakenings, spiritual awakenings, ET contact. I mean, something is shifting, and it's really a people's movement. I mean, what I'm doing here, this book I wrote, and what Neil Gar's doing, Portal to Ascension, and Sheila Seppi at the Wish Alliance, and Paul Hynek carrying on the tradition of his father. He didn't actually mention his father's name, J. Allen Hynek, who is the godfather of ufology. He sort of invented it. The CE, Close Encounter 1, 2, and 3, that's all Paul's father, who was instrumental in awakening the world to there's something really happening here. So, it comes down to a few fundamental concepts. The first concept that I like to put out is that we do not live in a dead universe. What science tells us is that, somehow we're a freak of nature and life happened here and it probably didn't happen anywhere. And so life is an anomaly. Well, what if that's science is telling us this, but of course that's not real science. That's just belief in what scientific theory is. A real science would say, I don't know, maybe there's life out there, but maybe it's not. So we're breaking out of this paradigm of a dead, unconscious, unliving universe, and we're seeing that we are part of a life force, that life itself is an emergent property of creation, and that, like we're on this little island here, and it's like looking at other islands, and we're thinking, no, there's probably no one out there, and they're probably thinking the same thing as us, until someone creates a ship where we visit. So we're at this huge turning point in history where we're realizing our potential as a planetary species. We're realizing that the mind, who we are, our thoughts, our consciousness, because it's all consciousness, and that's not local. That's not in your body. It's being received by the receiver and sender. The brain is the hardware. It's like your computer, we have the hardware and software, but it doesn't work until you have the operator. And the operator is consciousness. So we are the non-local beings. We are the extraterrestrials, I think, which is consciousness, because it's not of the earth. It's a universal field, and we are being picked up by these local transmitters, these local receivers. But when we realize that we're non-local, we understand the power of remote viewing and remote sending and remote sensing. So, when I teach remote viewing, and maybe I'll do this in Sedona, everyone, it's like bending spoons. It's like everyone can do it. And if I tell people, okay, where's this friend of mine somewhere in the world, and I send the signal, I'd say 90% of the people get the location. It's phenomenal. And this is something Russell Targ taught me how to do. And he says it's just the difference of understanding the signal from the noise. The noise is what's going on in your head all the time, and the signal is when you get empty and boom, you receive the psychic signal of new possibilities. So there's so much that is lying in the potential of our human future. We're moving into very exciting times. I wrote this book, Making Contact, which is an anthology, an overview from the nuts and bolts. I got people like Nick Pope in there, and then I got Grant Cameron and John Mack, if you know who he was. He wrote an essay about 10 years or before he died that was never published, and it's in this book. And it's about changing the way we think. We need to think differently, not just about creation, but the way we communicate. People want to meet ETs and they think they're going to sit down and have a cup of coffee with them. No, it's not like that. We need to rise to the occasion that we are multidimensional, and the beings that we are going to meet are multidimensional, and they speak in symbolic forms. They don't speak in a linear mode. We need to think abstractly, quantumly. So the key to all that, I put right in the title of my book, Making Contact. The asterisk is the point of making contact. It's the symbol that will take us into the center of all of us. We need to make contact with ourselves, each other, the planet, and of course the greater field of consciousness that's beyond us. So thank you, Zinka. I'm so happy to support this program on my channel, and thanks for all the great guests, Sylvan and Daniel and Paul and Greg, and we are building a beautiful community. So keep tuning into the Exo Metaverse right here, because you're going to get the latest quantum news from Zinka. Thanks, Zinka.
Thank you so much, Alan. Yeah, thanks so much for sponsoring us, and I look forward to seeing you in Sedona too. You have been for decades blasting the world with inspiration, speakers. You have been the microphone, the printing press for this EXO movement, and it's taken that dedication. You live, eat, and breathe this for the community, and we're so grateful for your channel and what you've given voice to over the years.
I eat and breathe and live because it's the most exciting thing that's happened. What could be more exciting when we're actually seeing the world wake up to what I call new realities, where we're actually seeing something different that's palpable taking place within the conscious field of humanity. When whoever they're out there, whether ETs or interdimension, when we finally do make contact, we'll be prepared and we'll be able to meet them, not as out of fear, but out of an equal playing field. So that's my hope, that we are here to shift the planetary consciousness and create abundance, joy, and possibility for everyone. So thank you.
That's so great. Yeah, we'll be ready for them, because the tipping point is already happening with the meditations and the embassy and all the work that Adam Apollo is doing. Adam's going to close us out tonight. Thanks for joining us tonight. We're here every third Thursday of the month. If you have an Exo group that wants to share, you can email us at team@exometaverse.org. Welcome, Adam Apollo.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here with all of you. Just beautiful amazing, exquisite, dedicated beings. And Alan, tour de force as ever, my friend, just telling the truth as it is. I feel a little bit less bad about the fact that I'm joining you guys from a car with a little bit of light that I have here on my face, considering you've got LA behind you and the sirens and that kind of magic going on. So thanks for helping me feel better about being in my car, Alan. And just as what he was saying, the key here is understanding compatibility of consciousness and context. If we go and travel to another country, we go to travel to other locations and we experience new kinds of cultures and new kinds of people, our capacity to understand who they are and where they're coming from has to do with how well we can understand the root of their language system and their culture. And I think that's a really profound thing to lay as a foundation, because in my experiences, my contact experiences going back to 2005, meeting a physical extraterrestrial being who was the most proficient telepathic communicator I'd ever experienced in my entire life. It was like dropping a VR headset on, is the way I like to describe it, to having contact with, many, many different species across the galaxy and calling in ships. And the reality is it all comes back to how are we expressing ideas and concepts and language. And if we follow the track back sort of a little bit further back to the source of where all of these words come from that we say in English or in French or in German or in Swahili, there is an idea, there is a vision, a concept in our minds. And that concept, that vision that then instantiates this flow of moving our vocal cords and our mouths is really where the light language is occurring. And when we realize that we can share ideas and communicate with each other through simply flashing full visual perceptions that we hold within our own head, wow, it suddenly opens up a whole new realm of the dynamism of how we connect with each other and with the rest of the universe. And of course, it's the kind of universal translation system is opening up this capacity. And we see it in great writers. We see it in great authors. People like Isaac, who is just sharing such a beautiful expression from his book. You get a visual expression behind the words that are being said. And when we connect with our extraterrestrial family, it's the other way around. You get the visual expression of the seeing and the knowing and the feelings, and then you translate that into words. And anyone who's, a proficient channeler, and I think we have a couple of those on this call as well, also recognize and know that. So this has been a big part of my personal work and dedication here, is adapting people to new contexts of how we are in relationship already, going into the ancient past and into the immediate future with a variety of extraterrestrial species that many of us are from these other worlds and have been remembering that, waking up to that, learning how to live here on Earth in the midst of this massive transformational time as a being from another world, sort of knowing the future a little bit, because we know where we can get to. We've already been through that. We've seen it in other worlds. And building community and building love and firing the grid, as Greg is doing here, and really being aware that lighting up our connectivity to each other helps us become a greater bridge as a human species, as stewards of our planet, and as a species ready to become an interstellar species in the galaxy. So that's my little rant for tonight. And
hey, Adam, I just want to ask you one question. Is that in order to understand the technology, which I know you're into, we have to change the way we think. So, because, right, those ETs are, whatever they are thinking differently. So we'll never understand the technology until we shift what? What would you say about the level of thinking?
Well, it's understanding that all technology is an externalization of our internal capacities and abilities. And thus, all evolution in technology is actually a spiritual development process. If we are wanting to get in ships and jump across the galaxy, We need to learn that our consciousness already knows how to do that through astral travel, remote viewing, etc. If you want to build a new energy system that runs on the quantum vacuum, practice pulling in prana and learn how to circulate chi inside of your body, and you will understand those principles better. So we're taking a major step forward in our technological development as we integrate our science and our spirituality as a foundation. So anyway, I'll be in Costa Rica next week for a gathering of some superheroes. And then in March, I'm on Neil Gower's Portal to Ascension Galactic Tech thing, I think around March 26th. And Sylvain, Roshan, really excited to hear about your conference in October. It sounds amazing. Please feel free to get my contact from Zenka and reach out, because I would love to connect and explore coming to be there. And thank you all so much for accommodating me for a few minutes here on this beautiful conversation.
And take my book with you to Costa Rica, okay?
You bet. I will do.
Thanks.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
Yadi, welcome. You're doing such great work in the world. We really enjoyed your crop circle program here in Sedona. And if you just want to say hello or anything else, go for it.
I do. I just want to say hi and how much I appreciate you, Zenka, and this entire community. It's so exciting to see the narrative change, and I feel really, really blessed to be a part of the community. So thank you for doing this, Zenka. Do you know, like you and Alan and Adam and Daniel, Greg, it's so exciting, isn't it? Like to be on the pulse of what's shifting and all the tech and all the data. I just wanted to say thanks. Really happy to say hi to everybody.
Exciting to see the exponential growth of awakening of all of us. It's changed so much in the last 30 years. So much. It's unbelievable. It's wonderful.
And it's going to keep changing as we, I think, hit a critical mass. I think this is why we're all doing firing the grid, everything, meditation, because as we put it out there, it just goes into the morphogenetic field of humanity, and suddenly the planet wakes up.
Right. There's a certain tipping point. It goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah.
Yeah. Today I was in a very straight conversation, business conversation, and then the ET thing came up, and I was like, wow. And then it was just perfect. And they were like, oh yeah, ET's great, whatever. So it is so happening, you guys. It's just people are like reaching that little thing of wanting to talk about it. So thanks to all of you. Thanks to Daniel and Greg from the Exo Metaverse Lightnet team. We really appreciate your big brains on this, bringing world-class tools to the ET community. And we're so grateful. So thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next month on the third Thursday, back again, and keep going with everything.
Thanks to everybody. It takes all of us. So
thanks, Greg, for your work. We're going to fire the grid. President's Day, Monday. Be there somewhere.
Okay, Alan.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. You guys, good night. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Say hello to Shelley if you talk to her. Yes.
I will.
Okay, definitely. Send her my love.
I will, Alan. Yeah.
She has not stopped. She has not stopped since 2002.
No, and she's not an extrovert. This has been very difficult for her. So.
Well, once you get her started, let's have her on the show here, Zenka, okay?
Yeah.
We're going to do a broadcast with Jimmy and the radios and stuff as well on that same date. So we look forward to, we'll look forward to having her on.
Yeah, I'll next time I speak with her, I'll say hi.
Okay. And Sylvan,